لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله العظيم من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد. We begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We seek His mercy and we seek His forgiveness. We seek our sustenance and our guidance from Him and from Him alone. And we send our peace and blessings upon His last and final messenger, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, upon his companions, on his family, and all those who follow him till the day of judgment. Allahumma ja'alna minhum. May Allah make us all from among them. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us in the Quran about after which He had created us from a single drop and formed us into the creation that we've become. And He says, إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. That we have guided you onto one of two paths. You are of those who are grateful, or you are of those who reject my blessings. You are of those who show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or we are of those who are ungrateful to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ. That very few of my slaves are actually grateful to me. There's very few of them who are actually grateful. So on that path, one of the two paths that He has already guided us upon, the one that is of those filled with those who are grateful are the few. A man would be heard saying by Umar ibn Khattab, "Oh Allah, make me among the few." And he would say, what kind of strange dua is this? "Oh Allah, make me among the few." He said, don't you know, Allah says, وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ. Only a few of my servants are grateful. And so Umar said, "Oh Allah, make me among the few." Because only a few will actually think and recall the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, understand the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and constantly and continuously thank Him for those blessings subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah tells us of the ways we can increase what we have is to thank Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If we are of those who are constantly trying to ask Allah for more and more and more, which we are encouraged to do so, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the formula for how to get more, is to be grateful for what you already have. Is before asking for the next thing, have we thanked Allah for what He has already given us? When we ask for more wealth, have we thanked Allah for the wealth that we have? Maybe there are some who want more children. Have you thanked Allah for the children that you have? There are some who want an increase in family. Have you thanked Allah for the family that you have? Maybe there's someone who wants a better house, a bigger house. which is fine to ask Him for. But have we thanked Allah for the house that we currently have? Maybe we want a better job or better school to go to. Have we thanked Allah for what He has already given us? If we do, then He said He will give us more, and He will grant us more. Maybe I'm of those who constantly ask and we feel like we're not getting. Even though Allah responds to the dua, but we feel like He hasn't given us what we asked for. Of the ways to really test that is to thank Him for what we already have. Continuously, constantly, every opportunity that we get is to thank Him subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything, big and small. Things that we often maybe take for granted. Things that we don't really think of even thanking Him for, or maybe don't even consider a blessing. Like our day-to-day uses of our faculties, our eyes, our seeing and our hearing, our touching and tasting. These things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recounts His blessings for us when He says, أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ. Did I not give you, this is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, 2 eyes with which you can see, and a tongue and 2 lips. These are things that how often have we actually thought about this even being a blessing? A man, he complained to one of the scholars, he said, Allah hasn't given me anything. And the scholar, he said, I'll give you $1 million for one of your eyes. He said, no, I would never do that. He said, I'll give you 10 million. I'll give you 100 million. For just one eye, not even both. You can keep one. He said, I would never do that. I would never give that up. So the scholar said, it seems to me as if you have everything. And you're saying Allah hasn't given me anything. So thinking about these day-to-day blessings that Allah has given us, and thanking Him subhanahu wa ta'ala for what He has given us, even if we think it's not a big deal. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he reminded us of some of these blessings that we might take for granted, that we don't actually appreciate. He said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, take advantage of 5 before 5. Take advantage of 5 things before 5 other things happen. He said, number 1, take advantage of your youth before old age. These are things that we have or will have at a certain point, and they will leave us. The first thing he said, take advantage of your youth, of your young age. This period that we have right now, which will never come back. It will leave us. And this is the time where we're able to do the most. Not just because we're young, we might not have as many responsibilities, but physically we have the capabilities that many around us don't. If you're, especially for our youth that are sitting on the ground and listening to this khutbah, when you look to your right, you realize the blessing that you have of just being able to sit on the ground, of being able to prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when our parents or our elders might not be able to do so. This moment that we have right now, take advantage of your youth. Do as much as you can for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because wallahi, a time will come and you listen to our elders who say, we wish we had our youth. We wish we can go back and be young again. We will do this and that differently. We have that opportunity now. He said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, take advantage of your health before old age. Take advantage of your health before sickness rather. The health that we have, the abilities that we have right now, we won't have at a certain point of the greatest blessing that we have. The ability again to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to even come to the masjid as often as I can, where there might be a point in time where I have to depend on someone else to take me to the masjid. To be able to walk to the masjid, where there might be a time someone has to carry me or hold me to go to the masjid. This is all part of appreciating the health that we have. Taking advantage of your time before you become busy. Again, for our youth especially, because we have elders in our community who maybe can't even spare 1 minute at times, because they are so busy and caught up in all the different things, all the responsibilities that they have, that we might not have at this time. Taking advantage of our time, how are we thanking Allah for the time that He has given us? How are we showing gratitude for every minute that we have? Imam Hassan al-Basri, he said, O son of Adam, you are but a few moments. Every time a moment passes, a portion of you goes with it. Imam Hassan al-Banna, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, do not say that time is money. We often hear, I gotta get to work, I gotta get to the hustle. Time is money, I'm losing money while I'm spending this time. He said, don't say time is money, rather time is your life. And every moment that passes, a portion of your life goes with it. That portion will never come back. If I lost $1, I can make it up, I can make $2 or $3 later on. But that time, that minute that just passed, will never come back. What have we done with that time? A portion of us goes with it until we are completely gone. As he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, take advantage of your life before death. So this encompasses all four of those things. To be thanking Allah for every blessing that we have. The blessing of youth, it's one of the greatest blessings. The blessing of health is an extremely great blessing. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that the believers are deceived by two things. Two things that we take for granted. As-sihtu wal-faragh. That health and free time are two things that we are deceived by. That we think we will have for a long period. I think I'll have it for as long as I want it. But it will leave us. And free time as well. We count our blessings. We constantly thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for every single blessing that we have. We will be asked about every single one of those blessings. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, one time he left his house in the middle of the night because he was hungry in search for food. And after walking for some time, he came across Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And he asked him, what has caused you to leave your house in the middle of the night? He replied, the same thing that has caused you to leave your house. And so they both go and search for food. And they come across the Prophet ﷺ, who has left his house also in search for food. And all three of them now are in search for food. And the Prophet said, I know of a man whose house we can go to and he will always have something for us. And so they go to the house of a companion. And he invites them inside, and all he has are some pieces of bread and water. Some crumbs of bread and water for them to satisfy their hunger with. And as they are eating, the Prophet ﷺ, he turns to his companions and he says, Wallahi la tus'alunna yawma idhin 'anil na'im. That I swear by Allah, you will be asked even for this blessing on that day. Even for these crumbs that you are eating right now, you will be asked about on that day. They say, Ya Rasulullah, even this is considered a blessing. Even this is something to be grateful for. He said, even something as small as this. So everything that we have, my dear brothers and sisters, we should constantly be reflecting on and thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. The hadith that I really want all of us to kind of focus on is the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said that whoever amongst you wakes up in the morning with security, is secure in his property, is healthy in his body, and he has food for that day, it is as if he has the entire world. Whoever amongst you wakes up and is secure in his property, meaning you have a roof over your head, you have a house in which you live in, you have something that you can call yours, a place for you to live in, and has full health in his body, and has food not for a year or for a month or for a week, but for that specific day, it is as if you have the entire world. It is as if you have the entire world. These are these that we probably often don't think about. Again, these three blessings. Shelter, a roof over my head. Something I wake up every day to. Food, we don't even think for the next few years. We know, we take it for granted. It's expected, inshallah ta'ala, that we will have that sustenance. And our health for the day, we don't think again twice. Yes, I went to sleep healthy, I woke up healthy, no big deal. But this is something, my dear brothers and sisters, this hadith is something I really never thought about until I had the opportunity over the last 2 summers to go to Jordan and work with the Syrian refugees over there. It's something you don't really think about until you actually experience it. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, whoever wakes up with is secure in their property. These are people who are living now in tents, no longer have their homes demolished before them. And now they're living in this cloth that they have the fear every day of a sandstorm coming, knocking it over, and they have to rebuild it the next day. No security at all. That in the summer they have to face the harshness of the heat in the desert. In the winter they have to face the harshness of the cold. They complain of snakes and scorpions coming into their tents at night, and their children constantly being in fear of that. Then you really think about whoever wakes up in the morning and is secure in their property. These are people who don't have that security, who once had that security. And they would tell us, we never thought this would happen to us. We would see the images of all the other places around the world and things happening. They're not living in a third world country. We never expected this to happen to us. So alhamdulillah, we were able to, through Helping Hand for Relief and Development, we were able to provide them caravan homes for refugees living in tents. We're trying to think of what we can do long term for their sustainability. And we came up with what we call in this country trailer homes. These small dwellings, 2 rooms, a small bathroom, a kitchen. And we said, let's provide something like that for them. Which we thought was something so insignificant. But the joy on their faces. When a sister was entering her caravan home, these are people who are living 6 years, 5 years in tents, and then whoever is living there the longest, we give them these caravan homes. When she entered her caravan home, many of us were crying because we said, what kind of life is this? You're living in a tent and now you're living in a trailer. She said, Wallahi, it's like you just gave me Jannah. Wallahi, it's like I just entered paradise. This small dwelling, maybe twice the size of this minbar I'm standing on. But it's like you gave me Jannah. Another sister, we handed her the keys to her caravan home, micro home. She said, it's been so long I forgot how to use a key. It's been 6 years I haven't even had a key in my hand. What do I do with this? Talk about the blessings that we don't really think about or don't have to think about. And we say Alhamdulillah for that. That Allah has given us this blessing, that there are many who would die for these blessings, who wakes up and is secure in their property. Then he said sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and is healthy in his body. Again, when you look at our brothers and sisters now living in these tents, in these camps, who if you look at their picture from 5 years ago and you compare them to now, you can't even recognize the person. Their bodies and their health deteriorated. Many of them not knowing if they'll wake up even the next morning. Not knowing where their parents are, many of them experiencing torture themselves, or their husbands or their fathers have been tortured and in many cases killed. I still recall the story of a young brother, 12 years old, who came to us and he lifted up his shorts and he showed us there was a scar on his thigh, upper thigh. And he said one day we were driving in the streets and a sniper started to shoot at our car. And immediately a bullet came through the window and struck my father in the neck and he died immediately. And then a bullet struck me in the leg. And they were taking me to the hospital, and none of the hospitals would operate on me. Until they found a private doctor, and they took me to this private doctor. And he didn't have all the tools that he needed. So he started operating on me while I was awake. No anesthesia. Taking out the bullet, stitching me up. These are the type of things that they are facing every single day. Then you have the psychological damage on top of that. Whoever wakes up every morning and is healthy in his body, having the ability, that knowing that we have doctors down the street, that we have all of the advanced medicine that we need, that even if something were to happen, inshallah ta'ala, we have that as insurance. And then whoever has food for the day. I mentioned this is something again we don't think about. We know inshallah for years, and Allah knows best how long that will last. But we've never really thought about where lunch today or dinner today will come from. This is something they have to worry about every single day. Not knowing where the next meal will come from. You see fathers who will go off in the corner and start to cry because they don't know what to tell their wives and their children about the next meal. And one of the, subhanAllah, the craziest things that we saw, something that really just left us in awe. That one of the days we decided to go into the tents in the refugee camps to surprise some of the families. We said we give them these handouts, they cook some of the food, but it's not really much. Let's go to a restaurant, buy them some gourmet meals and bring it to them. So that inshallah, at least for one day, they have something to be happy about. And we did that. We brought chicken and rice and meat and all of this, and we took it into their tents. And we sat, they said, you have to sit with us and eat. And so we sat with them, and we started to eat. And we noticed something very strange. The children, especially the younger children, were eating their food, they were eating the rice and the vegetables, and they would take the chicken and put it to the side. And they would continue eating the rice and vegetables. Anytime they came across a piece of meat, they would put it to the side. We asked their parents, this is something strange, that usually children are not usually eating the rice and vegetables, they want the chicken or the meat. Why are they doing this? They said they don't know what this is. They don't know what this piece of meat is. They've never seen it before. This is something strange, a foreign object to the children, a piece of chicken. And they were 5, 6 years old, they've been living in tents their entire lives, never seen meat before. And some of the kids who were older, maybe 10 or 12, they would take these same pieces of chicken and they would put it in their pockets. They would stuff their pockets with them, and they said, we will save it for later. We want it to last for as long as possible. So they would eat a little bit and put it back in their pocket. Like we eat candy or chocolate or gum, we just put it back in our pocket. This is how they would eat meat, not knowing if they would ever see it again. Whoever has food for the day, Prophet ﷺ said, whoever has all these 3 things, wakes up every morning, it is as if you have the entire world. Now we really understand what these words mean. When there's people, not just Syrian refugees, but all over the world, constantly living in this type of fear. In Africa, we have 20 million people facing the drought, don't have access to food or even clean water. People all over the world who are dying just because they don't have food, the next meal. They don't know where that next meal will come from. They don't have access to clean water. According to the United Nations Environment Program, they said in the US alone, 40% of the food that is cooked and prepared to be consumed is wasted. 40% of the food that we have that is cooked and made for us to eat ends up going to the garbage, ends up going to the trash. That food alone could solve the poverty problem in many countries, entire nations. So thinking about all of these blessings, my dear brothers and sisters, not feeling guilty that we have this, but this is part of our test. Their test is they don't have it, our test is we have it. Both of us are being tested in different ways by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How we respond to this test is what matters, is how we show our gratitude to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. The best way to show that gratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using that which He has given us for His sake. Allah has given me my eyes, I use them to do that, to look at that which pleases Him and avoid looking at that which might earn His displeasure. He has given me a tongue, I use it to speak that which is pleasing to Him and avoid speaking that which might earn His displeasure. He has given me ears, I listen to that which Allah would love for me to listen to, and I avoid listening to that type of speech which He would hate for me to listen to. That's how I thank Him for these blessings. He has given me wealth, I use it and I spend it for His sake subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I avoid using it in ways in which He has prohibited me from using it. I use my bodies in the same way in the path of Allah. Whatever good I can do, it is me thanking Him for these blessings. And if I want more, I simply use that blessing that He has given me for His sake. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, as we mentioned. When we thank Him, He will give us more and more and more. This is a test for all of us, how we respond. But we continuously say, Alhamdulillah, for everything that we have. For sending our children to school, not having to fear really that they would come back safely to us. never having to think twice, inshallah ta'ala. That coming to the masjid, even in many countries, where that is seen as something extremely dangerous now. I don't know if I'll be able to even come back home after that. So sing alhamdulillah for even that. And the scholars say, you say alhamdulillah for the ability to say alhamdulillah. We can't thank Allah enough. Even to say, to show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something that we should thank Him for subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who show gratitude to Him, and not amongst those who reject those blessings. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to not test us with more than we can bear, and to make us amongst those who serve His cause and who serve His religion and who come to the aid of His servants wherever they might be. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, I mentioned work with Helping Hand for Relief and Development. Alhamdulillah, we've been visiting your communities for the last couple of weeks to invite you, inshallah ta'ala, to our upcoming program, which is this Sunday, inshallah ta'ala. In this program, we are focusing on a very important and new project that we have. That's the Syrian Children's Education Program. We have, inshallah, alhamdulillah, an entire office in Jordan where we're working with the families, and we saw that one of the biggest needs is education for the children. That we have the fear of an entire generation being lost because they're not receiving education. Oftentimes it's the choice of the parents. Many of the parents we talked to, they said we don't want our children to go to school because either the father is not present or he's unable to get a job. The mothers, many of them never worked a day in their lives. It's hard for them to get in the workforce. So they're sending their young children out to do odd jobs in the streets, work, selling things, so that they can have $1 or $2 to bring home to the families. So we're making this deal with the parents, with the families, that we will sponsor your child's education. That we will get our brothers and sisters in the US to sponsor your children's education for up to an entire year and beyond that, so that you don't have to make them work. And so that literally it comes out to $2 a day to sponsor a child's education for an entire year, for them to go to school, their tuition, supplies, all of that, transportation. Many of them are living in remote camps. To get them to school is very difficult. And on top of that, psychological support. They've witnessed things that no child has business ever witnessing. So we provide them psychological support, and more importantly, a stipend for the family. And we tell them, you will not make your child work, you will be getting assistance from us. So Helping Hand, alhamdulillah, we come up with projects that are more long-term, sustainable projects, not just the one-time things. So we have, like for example, I mentioned the Caravan Home Project, and now the Education Project. Also in Jordan we have Skills Development Program, where we're teaching the mothers and the widows who never worked before different skills to get them also in the workforce. So work with us, inshallah ta'ala. We invite every single one of you with your families to attend the program this Sunday at 5 p.m. at Peace Academy, inshallah. We have Imam Suhaib Webb will be joining us, Dr. Altaf Hussein, and we have 2 young sisters who went to Jordan with us on our annual Youth for Jordan trip from Oklahoma City. They'll be joining us to talk about their experience. So especially if you have youth as well, bring them, inshallah ta'ala, so that they will learn and benefit and understand what it means to have the blessings that we have and how we should thank Allah for these blessings. I invite all of you, inshallah ta'ala. Allahumma a'izz al-Islam wal-Muslimin. Allahumma a'izz al-Islam wal-Muslimin. Allahumma a'izz al-Islam wal-Muslimin. Allahumma ighfir lil-Muslimina wal-Muslimat wal-Mu'minina wal-Mu'minat al-ahya'i minhum wal-amwat innaka sami'un mujibud da'awat. Allahumma ishfi mardana wa marda al-Muslimin warham موتانا وموتى المسلمين. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا واعتق رقابنا من النار وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. وصل اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة.